I would plan and assume that it's unlikely that many of these schools, few if any, will open before the summer break.
Right there from Governor Newsom, students won't be returning to school anytime soon as the coronavirus outbreak continues its effect. We want to answer some of your questions as well. We have with us Jessie Ryan. She's from the Sacramento City Unified School Board, District Board of Education. Thanks for being here, Jessie. Let's get right to it. That announcement that schools may be shut down until the fall has a lot of parents, including myself, my circle of moms, we're freaked out.
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to say is I want to reassure students and parents that what Governor Newsom said was a worst case scenario, and there are steps that we can be taking right now to help stave off the spread of coronavirus. So what I want parents and families to hear is that stay at home, wash your hands, do your best to adhere to social distancing, and recognize that that is a worst case scenario, and we're going to do everything we can to get back to school.
So just to clarify, that's worst case scenario. That's not the final answer. That's not necessarily the plan.
It is not the final answer right now. As you know, things have been changing hour to hour, and we are in constant consultation with our Department of Public Health, but we don't want families and students to see school closures through the fall as an inevitability. It's not right now.
Okay, so then that kind of also opens up another question, and one of our viewers is asking, well, how are the kids going to complete the school year if this goes into an extended closure?
That's a great question. So I'm actually a mom. I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old at home. So I am living this as school closures play out. So we are trying to work with our city partners, with our broadcast partners, and with our teachers throughout the Sacramento region to figure out what are the learning options for our kids. So many of our students depend on our schools for their meals, for caring adults, for daily learning, and don't necessarily have access to that at home otherwise. We're actually really excited that we're working with KVIE to have a plug-and-play programming schedule that is 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day for TK all the way through high school. We're also looking at a variety of online learning platforms, but we recognize that there's a digital divide, and we don't want having the internet or having a device to limit our students' access, particularly because 76% of our kids are on free and reduced price lunch or in poorer homes. So we're doing everything we can to, one, figure out partnerships with Comcast for free internet in the interim, and also we're working at a school site level to figure out how do we get learning packets into the hands of our kids at our 40 sites that are delivering free and reduced price lunch students their meals right now, so that we do our best to minimize disruption to learning and to make sure our kids are eating.
I want to go back to the lunch and food in just a second, but we do have another viewer question. Stephanie Ricci Dodson wants to know, what about the children that have special needs like autism? She's worried that her son's going to have a major regression if he's going to stay out of school.
No, that's such a good question. Actually, I've been in constant contact with our community advisory committee that's looking at the needs of our special education population. One of the things that we put out yesterday was guidance around how we can minimize learning loss and continue online learning through some platforms that are available and specifically catered to the needs of our special education community.
And going back to the food, I know you mentioned, they are providing lunches and things like that. I know I just got a call this morning from our elementary school that's saying starting today that my kids can come and get meals, or students can come get meals. Talk about what else is being done.
So I'm really excited about this. Yesterday we had 13 sites that were doing our breakfast program and our lunch program. Today, really due to a generosity of spirit from workers, from community volunteers, we're expanding our meal program to 40 school sites throughout the district. You can find the locations at www.scusd.edu. But what this means is that at 40 locations, students can walk up or drive up and get bags with free breakfasts and lunches, and we're even doing early supper at 13 of those 40 locations.
That's really good to know. And students can go, they don't necessarily need a parent with them.
Yes, they don't need a parent with them. We're trying right now to work with USDA to figure out how can we actually give students and families bags of food beyond just the daily meals to make this as efficient as possible and to ensure that no child goes hungry in these really difficult times.
Important, and I know that that's going to be very helpful to a lot of the parents out there. I have another question from a viewer. Aaron is asking, why haven't private chain preschools and daycares been ordered to close?
So that is really something that the city is working on. Mayor Steinberg and Council Member Guerra actually were talking about this earlier. They're looking to the Sacramento Public Health Department to issue guidance around that. And one of the things that we know is that when our child care centers close, there will be families, many of them first responders, that will be left in crisis, needing to serve the needs of our vulnerable communities, but not having a place to put their kids. And so they're trying to be thoughtful and intentional about those closures. I know that Councilmember Guerra and Mayor Steinberg are working very hard on this.
And after-school programs. I know my children are enrolled in an after-school program. They're going to be suffering because of the school shutdowns. I mean, they're complying,
Absolutely.
but
no, it's so true. So here's one of the things that people don't seem to understand. In poorer areas like Sacramento, inequities just grow when schools are closed. When there isn't access to after-school programming, there's not just learning loss, but kids don't have a safe space to be during the school day and beyond. And we're really having to look at that. What do we do in this new normal for this short period of time while we try to address the slowing of the COVID-19 spread?
Wow, there's just so much information to consume and to kind of digest. Last question for now, teenagers.
Yes.
How worried should they be? You see different levels. It's all perspective. But what about when it comes to our teenagers?
So one of the things that we're trying to tell our teenagers is we're working with the state to figure out graduation, to ensure students graduate on time. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that students are not in a place where they are struggling with mental health challenges if they don't have their daily routine met at a school site. So teenagers should know that if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling anxious, it's okay. And there's actually a support line that's been set up.
Oh, great.
It's 916 support. 916 support. So if a teenager is feeling depressed, feeling anxious, feeling like they don't have an outlet, call that support line and we can talk you through it.
And before I let you go, the governor's announcement yesterday.
Yes.
Stay calm. Don't freak out.
Yes.
It's just worst case scenario. And worst case scenario, the board, I guess, is working on a plan for that.
We absolutely are working on a plan. What I want to tell students and families is calm and continuity is key. I'm a mother. We have to make sure that we demonstrate to our kids that we have a plan in place for their continued learning, their food needs, and their mental health needs, and we do. And as things change, we will adapt because we are working together to make sure that our kids have everything they need.
School days, will they have to be made up? I know everybody's asking that question because we're going to miss a bunch of days. Is it going to affect the summer vacations?
So these are conversations we're having right now. I don't have an answer to that right now. I'm hopeful that we'll figure out a way to provide additional learning opportunities such as expanded summer learning programs. But right now, these are all conversations that are happening in real time.
And our school employees are thinking about them too.
Oh, they absolutely are. Our educators, our custodians, our office managers, they're all parts of this conversation right now.
Okay, thank you so much for being here, Jessie. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in to ABC 10 for Coronavirus. Let's talk facts, not fear. And a big thank you to everyone who's been sending in questions.